Greetings, people. So Conference Report has a video up called "The Universe Doesn't Have a Self," and in there he's somewhat critiquing the expression that we are the way that the universe becomes conscious of itself. And he does mention my name there, and I wanted to somewhat defend the position and see if I can bring some clarity, because from my own perspective, I think Fred he's somewhat equivocating, and he's trading upon differences between biological facts of subsystems like my body and its relationship to the larger environment, but then how consciousness and conscious awareness relates to that. I mean, the boundaries of consciousness seem very different than the boundaries of the body. But before I get into all that, let me just say really quickly, first off, I appreciate the video. I'm not being all out in disagreement, but I do have some significant disagreements with it. And I also want to say that I think it's ambiguous. There are ways that I could defend the position that I think he's after. In fact, I do have other videos where I tried to rally somewhere, I guess, in alignment with, I think, some of the positions he's saying. And I'm going to post some links to those. I mean, I did a video a while back on the one and the many, how, and I also did a video on otherness, both of which kind of cut against this popular, it's almost like new ageism where people go, oh, everything is all one. Well, it's kind of true that everything's all one, but that doesn't really work. It depends upon the level of analysis. Okay, still, when Fred is critiquing it, he kind of says, well, it has some political agenda use in that people can give a kind of accountability to themselves in their connectedness, but it doesn't really make sense to him, and he says it doesn't really have a self. The universe doesn't have a self, and that's the problem with it. Now, the problems that I have with the video are, again, I think we are of the universe. We're not simply in it. See, that's the problem. That your body isn't, quotes, yours, that what you're calling yours was always already the universe. That is, the universe has various forms of relating back to itself through appropriating parts of itself as if it weren't itself. I mean, we are the way the universe haunts itself as another. A body is a universe worlding. I mean, the universe worlds through bodying. And see, I think part of the problem that I have, at least with your argument, is you say, well, only, I could be conscious of myself. And then you say, well, maybe my dog could be conscious of itself. And you were trying to give these examples. But the problem is that it seems as if you're suggesting a kind of solipsism, that all I'm really aware of is myself. Now, what does that mean? Well, where are the boundaries of this self? I have sense organs. I can look out into the world, and when I'm looking out into the world, it's not like this I is somehow not the world that's looking out into the world. See, language is hoodwinking us. Twit had a comment on your video where he's saying, look, to invoke Watts is a little bit problematic, because Watts is going to acknowledge that the words themselves are drawing distinctions where if we turn to silence, there seem to be gradations of difference, but there aren't discrete, distinct things. There's just ongoing events and processes. Again, now those are just more words. It gets very problematic. But see if I can get it, the warmth of the sun. I go outside and I feel the warmth of the sun. That's me feeling the warmth of the sun. To simply say that my body is representing that, well, that's not really true. There's not the warmth there to be represented. I mean, the warmth of the sun is what I am experiencing. To that extent, I am the way that the warmth of the sun gets registered. I'm part of the way, If you say, again, am I of the universe or am I simply in the universe? Now, depending on the level of analysis, I could try to say that I'm in, not of, but I don't ever have some sort of non-universe substance. I don't ever have some un-universe, anti-universe. Now, if you're going to talk about consciousness, I think we can make moves about nothingness, talk about desire, lack, and different ways that absence are included in all that is. But that seemed to be very different than, I guess, the sort of stuff you were talking about. Let's try to take even some different cases. Now, if you say that I'm not the universe, I'm somehow a bounded system with semi-permeable boundaries, but a bounded system within this larger system. Now, does that mean that I can really leave the solar system? Now, I could try to imagine that. So I try to say that I'm not the universe, and by doing that, I say, look, I can prove I'm not the universe because I can leave this solar system. Now, I can't leave the universe. All right? I can't leave the universe, but I can try to imagine leaving the solar system. But if I do, I'm going to have to replicate atmospheric pressure and, particular kinds of sunlight and particular atmospheric, oxygen intake. I mean, there's so much that goes into this larger environment that we don't realize, that I think one could make the argument that your skin separates your internal from your external organs. Everything around you, those are your external organs. Everything inside your body are your internal organs. There are some things outside your body that are vital to your body. That is, your external organs are vital to your sustenance. That is, the sun, you don't need any less than you need your heart. The air around you, you don't need any less than your lungs. But there's internal and external organs, either of them, right? I mean, you can have removal of some without destroying who you are. You can you can cut a tree down and it won't take you out. In the same way that you can remove certain cells of your body, but there are other parts of you, and you are a place and moment of all that's ever been. I mean, the question is, if you're not the universe becoming aware of itself, what is it that you're doing? Are you only aware of yourself? Is it solipsism that you're in? Okay, let's go to this question of boundaries. Okay, where are the boundaries? If you say the boundaries are the food in the air, okay, so I have new cells all through my body through the food that I digest. Okay, that's kind of the semi-permeable boundaries, but what about the boundaries of how each person literally comes into the world by coming out of another person? That is, I come in literally continuous in this great chain of being, and very similar to that I fall into a history. I always come to a self-awareness through a language that was fashioned by others, that they surpass and transcend my bodily being. So the boundaries have to be more than bodily. And even when we go to the bodily, it gets very problematic on how the bodily boundaries are related to conscious boundaries. So I'm there and I'm awake and I'm looking at things in the distance and I'm concerned about various things, and then I fall asleep. Now, as I fall asleep, my body's still respirating. I still have metabolism going on. There's various forms of exchange between my body and the world. But with the total loss of consciousness, it seems like it's a loss of the world. That is, see, I think part of the problem is when we say the universe, that we are part of the way the universe becomes conscious of itself. See, the of is such a problematic aspect there, that normally we think of consciousness as consciousness of something, right? And there is that sense of the universe is what I'm conscious of. Then you say, well, what is this I that's conscious of it? Well, it's of the universe. See, the of circles back. I mean, it's not simply that I am conscious of the universe. I'm not just conscious of myself. See, if I think I'm just conscious of myself, I think we too easily fall into solipsism. But if I say, no, I am conscious of the universe, well, then you say, well, what am I? Well, I am of the universe, not simply in it. I mean, I think that's what people are trying to register. When people say that we're the way the universe is becoming aware of itself, they're trying to get to not just the phenomenological degree that all consciousness is consciousness of something. I think they're trying to get at the grounding of the body as always being of this substance, this common grounded universe, rather than some kind of alien presence or something from somewhere else, some non-universe, I don't know. Okay, thanks.